It was evening, right after nap time, when Sun awoke out of his nap-time slumber. He was confused. It was still dark, and strangely, he was awake, and not his moon half. It took the machine a while to realize that he was, in fact, inside of a crate. Immediately he panicked. Was he being scrapped? What did he do to deserve this? He began banging his fists against the wood, grunting and groaning in fear, until finally a familiar voice called out, "Hey, stop that!" That voice. It was Brian. Sun spouted angry nonsense that was still in accordance to his profanity filter, of course, despite the awful circumstances he found himself in. But eventually, even the daycare attendant gave up on childish things like fighting a battle he could not win. So he turned to simply sobbing, which was Brian's cue to speak. "Hey," he knocked on the crate's wood. "Are you ready to listen now?" he barked. The animatronic didn't reply, but lowered the volume of his sobs. "Good," mused the day shift guard. "You went into some legal trouble. Apparently the artistic depictions of you are a little too unrepresentative of the real product." Sun's head spun. He found that his advertisements were very much accurate to his appearance. "The higher-ups have decided to change the advertisements with you." The daycare attendant shifted and made Brian promise 4 times that he wasn't getting scrapped. In the meantime, Brian lifted the crate onto a roller and began pushing Sun towards the delivery exit. For some time it was quiet. To not run out of juice for his photo shooting, the daycare attendant had placed himself into a limited sleep mode. This meant that he could vaguely make out what was happening around him, such as shapes and changes in the light through the cracks of his box. What he was able to notice was the mild drizzle outside. The machine hoped, for the sake of his circuits, that he would be transported inside a proper truck to the outside location. Eventually, he felt the box being lifted. It wasn't Brian this time, which made the robot feel very uneasy. Yet he understood why Brian couldn't be with him all the way. Sun and the security guard leader didn't always see eye to eye, but the man had proven to him many times that he worked well with kids. And that alone made Sun so incredibly happy that he saw Brian as a good person and his best friend. A person he would defend even if it led to him being verbally abused by the man. Of course, Brian himself wasn't malicious. To him, the animatronics were just that, machines. They more often than not were just inconvenient. And he showed that in the treatment of them when no customers were nearby. Luckily, his loyalty to Fazbear Entertainment made it so that he never actually harmed any of the machines. In other words, it was tolerated by both coworkers and animatronics alike. Eventually, Sun's box was placed on something dark and cold, which soon began to vibrate. It was the delivery truck. Honestly, Sun didn't know how long the drive took, mostly due to his limited sleep mode. What he did notice was that the box was being lifted once more after some time, and that he was being carted. His head made an excited spin as he reactivated himself in anticipation. Meanwhile, you sat in your photo studio, going through your advertising backgrounds. Some bored-looking fellow who spoke in grunts placed a wooden box in the middle of your studio. He didn't even care to say hello, he just left after you signed a few papers. And now you were alone in your studio with whatever was inside that. Slowly you approached the box. According to the delivery papers, the object for the shooting was inside. With a shaking hand, you knocked against the wood. "Hello?" It was quiet for a second, and then the top of the crate burst open, almost giving you a heart attack. As you fell backwards on your butt, the animatronic jumped outside, revealing himself.
Hello? I am my new friend. Are you the photographer? Are you the one that will make me look pretty?
You had been a photographer for Fazbear Entertainment for quite a while, and knew about the quirks of the machines. Initially, you wanted to be one of those romanticized photographers who traveled with supermodels to various exotic locations to take pictures of them posing in various outfits. Or hopefully, not in outfits. But it was a dream, and dreams just don't come true. From your desk, you grabbed a notepad, which you used to keep organized. Okay, I have a few things I gotta do first before we get started.
I said hello.
You blinked. Hello. Happily, Sun danced around. So we need advertising shots for Sundrop Wake Up Caffeine Gummies for Kids.
Brian said it's because my cartoon counterpart, Toon Sun, is not representative of my appearance.
Right. Toon Sun, you muttered. You stepped closer to the robot, gently placing your hand on his chin.
Ooh, warm.
You're a little grimy.
Are you calling me a dirty boy?
I'm just saying I'd like to polish you first. Sun clapped his hands excitedly. In your Fazbear studio, you had an operation table for animatronic maintenance, though you didn't do much modifying on it. You just called it your polishing station. Sun lied down excitedly on the table as you pulled your equipment over. Mixing a few drops of Roxy's nail polish cleaner into 2 cups of water, with a soft sponge you then gingerly rubbed over his shell, starting with his arms and hands. Even diluted in water, the cleaner smelled incredibly chemical. It made your head spin a little. With a soft sponge, you then gingerly rubbed over his shell, using the liquid, starting with his arms and hands. Grime stains that you couldn't remove, probably from spilled fizzy fizz, and... were those puke stains? Ugh. You got rid of by using a cotton ball that was soaked in cleaning alcohol. Sun looked at your surgical work wide-eyed. Or well, as wide as his static face allowed him. Cleaning by the photographers always looked and felt so great, and so much better than the quick rub-down he got once per week from Brian. When you reached his face, he couldn't help but make a fuzz, though apparently you were tickling him, making it difficult to clean around the edges of his grinning teeth and nose. Finally, it was time for his chest, though as you rubbed your sponge over him, he pulled away.
Miss Photographer.
What's wrong? You sighed, still a little annoyed from him fuzzing a moment ago.
Do you have to clean that too?
I do, yes.
I'm sensitive there.
He pointed at the hip shell piece right above his pants. A little strange to be sensitive there, certainly, though all animatronics seem to have sensitive parts at places that could be considered lewd by humans, such as Roxy on her midriff or Monty's abs. Well, you were used to it. Though having the robots moan on your table always made you blush. That was probably also the reason why, more often than not, you got them delivered to you dirty. Nobody else wanted to do this. It just sometimes became difficult to not see this as a sexual act. You do know I have to use my polishing machine in a minute, right?
Oh.
Somehow you managed to finish the first polishing stage without him making you flustered. Though when you turned on the polishing machine, he couldn't stop himself from squirming, laughing, grunting, and groaning. You seriously wondered how this felt to him, and the others if they always produced such noises. Really, only Grimlock Freddy's quietly endured it. And Mapbots. But why them specifically? Though come to think of it, you never worked with a DJ Music Man before. That could be an experience and a half. Blushing, you pulled the polishing machine away from the robot. There we go, you muttered. Happily, Sun grabbed the mirror on your work table without even asking.
Ooh, wow!
With one hand, he rubbed over the moon half of his face. Now with all the sticky stuff removed, he could clearly see the wood finish on the plastic shell.
I look stunning!
Well, I gotta take some good pics, am I right? He jumped up, making a heroic pose.
I will, but doing such a good job, I owe you a favor. You can cash it in whenever. It doesn't expire.
His face suddenly got super close to you.
Anywhere you want.
His face almost touched your nose.
Anytime you want.
Your right eye twitched unintentionally.
Okay.
He jumped back before strutting to your green screen.
Where will you be taking me?
Still a bit stunned from him invading your personal space, you bit your lower lip, pulling over a display TV that showed what your camera would depict, should you take the shots. Right now it was a night sky. Using a dial, you went through your available backgrounds. Well, for Sundrop Candy, we need to go for the Windows XP background. That's in the instructions. Though as you went through them, Sun suddenly placed a hand on your shoulder, pointing at the screen.
I like that one.
It was a beach sunset, very detailed. You had specifically chosen it to longingly stare at it whenever you were private, imagining the career you could have had. Oh, that one. I never use it.
But you should.
We should use the faster selected backgrounds. Sun suddenly placed a finger on your chin, forcing your gaze up to look at him. Your toes curled unintentionally, and you blushed.
You seem a little down, Miss Photographer.
Just reminiscing.
Well, that sounds bad.
He slapped both hands on his face. I mean, it's a basic human emotion, I think. You furrowed your brows. Though, come to think of it, even though reminiscing had a positive connotation in the media, why did it make you always feel like shit? Maybe Sun was right. You grabbed your camera. Sun, you declared. I know what I want my favor to be now.
Oh, goody.
He shouted. We're going to take sexy pics first. He raised a finger.
Pardon?
But you already went down on one knee, pointing at the green screen. Go! Go, 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 go! You demanded. Uncomfortable, the animatronic walked over to the green screen, taking a regular pose. Okay. You wave with your free hand. Turn. Little more. Little more. Good. Now bend forward just a little bit.
So you want to take a picture of my tushy?
He asked curiously. Mostly. We are going to enhance that later on the PC. Your camera shot multiple pictures. Each click made the robot feel more at ease, as more pose changes were suggested by you. And your nice words made this all the better. It was rare that he was called anything other than creepy or ugly by grown-ups. You calling him sexy, cute, attractive, and good boy really did it for the animatronic. Okay, on your knees, you ordered seductively.
Okay.
Slowly he got down. Okay. Not like that. I want you to lean a little back. Just a little. Yes, yes. Now spread your legs.
Like this?
Almost. Spread them further, as far as your joints allow. That's good. You nodded.
I'm losing balance. I can't do it further.
Put one hand behind you for purchase. As he did, you told him, now the other hand, put it there. You pointed between his legs.
Why?
Just do it. Son placed his hand over his crotch. Now grab.
Grab what?
You paused thinking. Grab your pants like you have a ball pit ball stuck there. The robot squeezed his groin. Yeah. Perfect. Click. This is so freaking hot. Click.
Is it? Should we change the thermostat?
No, that's not what I mean. You're such a good boy. That's what I mean.
I'm a good boy.
Yes, a good boy. A good boy. Now, lean forward for mommy.
Okay.
Son leaned forward. Down. Further. Like a cat. You blinked, thinking how to explain the rest of the pose. Your butt a little higher. Almost. Almost. Okay, now one arm forward and one hand under your chin. You heard his shell creak as he followed your instructions. Okay, good start. You said as you went through the countless pictures. Click, click. And finally, out of breath, the machine stood up.
Okay. Are we done? Can I see them? And can we do the advertising now?
He tapped his fingers together. Sit, you ordered while deleting the pictures that didn't look perfect. Okay. Patiently, he sat down, though as you attached the camera to a tripod, he tilted his head.
Oh, we're not done yet?
No, we're not. Now we go to the next chapter. The robot watched you wide-eyed as you began unbuttoning your uniform.
Miss Photographer, this is lewd.
There's just one more thing I need to do with you before we go do the thing while you're actually here, you said, smiling. You kicked away your underwear as you walked forward. Bluetooth trigger for the camera in your right hand. Sitting down in his lap, naked, you wrapped one arm around his shoulder.
Why do you have to be, you know?
Shush. Gingerly, you placed a finger on his lips, making his sun rays wiggle excitedly. You're fulfilling Mommy's biggest dream right now. Now, be a good boy, and... You pointed between your legs. Put your hand right there, while I take a few more pictures, okay?
Yes, madam.
Thank you to the people who are supporting me on Ko-fi. You guys are keeping me alive. Special thanks to my darling channel members K Abyss, BitBit, Zings X3, Melofia, Lavender Cheese, Muffin, A Simp, Hella, Nexurist, AJ Anime Girl, and Hopeful.